In today's landscape of creative automation, there is no one solution that serves all needs to create marketing assets. How to extend your toolset, that's the subject of today. Welcome to CHILIpulse, the space we created to get actionable insights in all things CHILI graphics. And with me today is Pieterjan. Hi Pieterjan.
Hi Bram.
You are product owner of CHILI GraFx.
Yeah.
And you know a thing or two about connectivity.
Yeah, indeed.
Can you start maybe to describe the challenge in creative automation?
Yeah, as you said already, there's no one single solution to fit the needs that our clients have. And what's important to keep in mind is that when you start doing graphical production on scale, there are some elements you need to keep in mind. And sometimes we refer to them as the ingredients of creative automation. And then we think about data, for example. On data, we mean, for example, product information is something that is an element of your marketing campaign. Also, assets, media, can be assets coming from a DAM, but could also be, for example, Google Maps, the directions to your local store, can also be a part of those elements. Next to that, we have business logic. Imagine that you're a big brand, you're doing a campaign in multiple countries. Well, each country has its own currency, and the currency icon sometimes is before, sometimes after the price. So that's also something to keep in mind. And then last but not least, we have the brand guidelines. Also something to keep in mind. Using the correct fonts, for example, is very important when you produce your assets at scale. So these are just a couple of the elements that you need to think about when you produce your assets. And again, there's no single solution in the market that can deliver all those solutions in one tool, I would say.
And what is then the solution to where can you get the other assets, the other information?
Well, what we think is important for our CHILI GraFx, our multi-channel creative automation platform, is the out-of-the-box connectivity. So CHILIpulse has always been a company which is API first, as you know. And that's important to understand because this means that we can easily connect with other systems. 2 years ago, we launched the platform, CHILI GraFx. That was a response to clients asking for an out-of-the-box solution, for a self-service solution. Immediately after that, the other question came, is there a possibility to pull in resources from external system into CHILI GraFx? And that's where the out-of-the-box connectivity came really visible in the platform. So that's the idea behind it.
Okay. There are 3 types of connectivity we are talking about. What are these 3 types?
Yeah, well, on the one hand, we have integrations, we have connectors, and we have plugins.
And I guess there is a substantial difference in the 3.
There's indeed a difference. Let's maybe start with the integrations. Yeah. The integrations is the idea that our creative automation engine, as I would call it, is integrated in the MarTech solution of the client. Think about a Web2 print solution, think about a brand portal, think about all kind of tools that today you use, something that we can plug into, let's say, and we can help you to produce the assets that are on brand and at scale. Yeah. So could be also a DAM system, could be a PIM system, could be any, let's say, solution that you use today.
And the big difference is that it's been integrated, so our solution is part of the solution of the other vendor.
To make it very clear, at that moment, there's not really a graphics user. It's really a user on the platform where we integrate it in. So we're like the invisible, behind the scenes magic that's going on. But you don't really see us, we are integrated. That's the first idea. And it requires for the client to put some time and resources in building actual integration, of course.
So it's functionality that we can offer into your platform.
Yeah, indeed. And that's why Web2Print, brand portals are really nice examples. And I'm thinking about specific clients and partners that are building today those integrations. We could think about Cadenza. We could think about Sidecar. We think about Lito, but also Eco3 from Agfa is also a great example of integrations that are built and used by our clients today.
Okay, so that's one, that's integration, where we are part, CHILI GraFx is part of another solution.
Yeah.
Then Another type of connectivity is the connectors. What is a connector?
Yeah, connector is really to pull in data from an external source into our platform. Yes,
So people are using our platform.
they are indeed. This is in fact a GraFx user that wants to that is creating assets on our platform. At a certain moment, for example, that user needs a asset from the DAM system that the company is using, and then we build a connector. Or we can build a connector that will pull in the assets of an external DAM system, for example, but could also be a PIM system to get product information in the, let's say, design tool on CHILI GraFx.
Yeah, and the difference is you will need the user in both systems to have
Indeed.
the credentials to do your job.
Important remark that you make there indeed is that we will always respect the governance in the external tool.
Yeah.
To give you an example, if you build a DAM connector, so a connector for to access resources in a DAM system, we will make sure that the user only has access to the DAM, to the assets in the DAM that he is supposed to be.
Yeah.
If he only has access to certain collections, we will not bypass that. That's impossible. You will only have access to what you really need.
It's important to maintain that governance that has been set up in an external system.
Yeah, indeed. That's one of the key things within, I would say, the media connector. So on the one hand, we have the DAM governance that is respected. On the other hand, and that's really important to understand for the media connector, is that we can pull in metadata from the system in our design. So it's not only the asset itself, it's also the metadata that's behind the asset that we can pull in the design into the graphic. And then I think about, for example, you have a bottle of champagne and you have the contents, is it liter? It's from that region in France, for example. So we can put in that metadata that's in the external system also within our
so not only metadata from an asset management, but also PIM data, that is actual product information.
Yeah, indeed. That's also a use case that's very common when you talk about creative automation. Yeah.
We have 3 types of connectors.
Yeah.
I think we just talked about the media connector.
Yeah, media connector is, as I said, the possibility to connect with any DAM system that's out there. And today we already launched the Acquia connector, but again, Sidecar and Cadenza are, as we speak, building their media connectors as well. Next step for us is to bring data connectors, and data connectors will really enable our clients to, as I would say, hyper customized campaigns. What I mean by that, all the data that you have can come from a PIM system, CRM system, ETL system. Think about any system that has data in it. That's the data you can pull into our platform. It's really important.
You mentioned a few examples already, like indeed Acquia DAM recently launched.
Yeah, indeed.
A few others are building on it on a DAM connector.
Yeah, well, and the idea behind our connector framework, as we call it, is that the connector framework is open sourced. So if we build a connector, it's available for everyone that wants to use it. So we build our own connectors, but partners like, again, Cadenza, Sidecar build it. And then it's also available for everyone who wants to use it.
Well, we offer an open source basis, an open source platform that it basically contains 80% of the code. Yeah. And then you implement your governance, your authentication, stuff like that.
And the only thing you need is access to graphics, of course, and access to the external system, and then you just bring them together and you can start creating. Yeah.
So we talked about integration. We talked about connectors. There was a third one, plugins.
Yeah, indeed. Plugin is used is a desktop application to start with, and it brings in the designs that you created in Adobe InDesign or Adobe Illustrator. You can take that design and bring it into our platform within CHILI GraFx. So you can inherit certain things that are part of that design. Thinking about layers, but also design elements can come into the design in CHILI GraFx.
And that saves a lot of work because a lot of designs have been made in the Adobe Creative Suite. So now we can bring these assets in and you can then add logic to the document.
And today, as I said, we have the Adobe InDesign, we have Adobe Illustrator, and we also have Adobe Photoshop along the way. So that's also coming very soon. So, and those are the 3 types of out-of-the-box connectivity. So as you said, Illustrator integrations, we have the connectors, and we have the plugins. So 3 ways of bringing in resources from an external system within our system.
And next to out-of-the-box with the framework, it's a very small step to build your own connectors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I want to get started. Where do I get my information?
Well, at Chili, we put a lot of efforts in documenting everything. And Bram, if everything goes well, you can find the link above your head. So that's a link to the documentation where you can find everything to get started, in fact. So we put a lot of efforts in there. So really take a look there. And if you have questions, of course, just call us. We're just one call away. Yeah.
Super. Well, thank you so much for the clarification and the clear explanation.
Yep.
So if you want to use one of our connectors, plugins, or integrations, just give us a shout out or give us a call or send us an email at pulse@chilipublish.com. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Pieterjan.
Thank you, Bram.
See you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.